everything possible that you can learn is useful to learn. Whether it's chemistry or music theory or darn near anything else that you have an opportunity to learn. You know, I have never done anything professional in biology, chemistry, or physics, or math. But I can tell you that practically every day, the work that I do on legislation and public policy and trying to figure out how we organize the delivery of healthcare in New York, which is how I have fun, every day, the way I think about those things is affected in some way by things that I learned when I was in high school and college about evolution or chemistry or the laws of physics. You know, there is so much about social policy that you can understand if you understand Brownian movement and evolution. I know that may sound weird to you. If we had a few hours, I could go into that with you, but you'd be bored to tears and talk about getting the book. And now, don't get me wrong, the world needs a whole lot more really talented scientists and engineers and technologists and mathematicians. And if that is where your heart and your mind take you, by all means, do it. We need you to do that. But if you find that, as my son did, he went to college thinking he was going to be a physics major, and somehow, 20 years later, still don't know how, decided he was going to be, no, it's not 20 years later, about 15 years later, decided that he was going to be an Asian studies major. And now he works for an investment bank, and the fact that he's fluent in Mandarin does him no good at all in his daily work. But he did spend a semester studying in Taiwan, and that's where he met his wife. So things have a way of working out. Where did I start this sentence? If you find that you think you're going to be a physics major and you decide to be something else, that's okay. Because the time you invest in learning about math and physics and whatever else you learn about will be enormously well spent and will prepare you, if you keep your mind to it, at whatever you do choose to do. A couple of things I want to say. One is that time is too precious to waste. You know, an hour is a terrible thing to waste. Anybody who tells you in your years in high school and college, oh, when you grow up, whenever that is, you know, you'll have plenty of time to work, now's the time to enjoy yourself. Bunk. No, not true. Now is the time to learn everything you possibly can, because when you grow up, whatever that means, your opportunities to continue learning will be significantly diminished. There are plenty of lines of work in which you will learn an enormous amount every day, but the opportunity to just learn stuff for the sake of learning it, when you are this age, is a precious thing, and do not let anyone try to talk you out of even a moment of opportunity to learn. And the last thing I want to say is always remember where your opportunity and your success in life comes from. Now, a lot of it comes from what's inside you. Maybe most of it comes from what's inside you. We all do create ourselves. But, you know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Imagine what it takes to make a PhD in whatever you might seek a degree in. We all, each and every one of us, owe so much of what we are to somebody else, whether it's family or a teacher or our community or a foundation that paid for a scholarship or the city or the state or the federal government that helped to pay for your education. You know, my parents were able to pay for my college education. Why? Because when they were young, the city of New York had the good sense to have City College and Hunter College, and in those days, it was completely free. The taxpayers paid for it. Had that not been the case, they would never have been able to grow up and send me and my sister to college. I really believe that if you keep that in mind, if you always remember that it took a village to raise you, that you will live your life to repay that debt, and that you will live your life to be part of that village and help raise the next generation of children. And just as you appreciate those who made the world for you, I believe if you do keep that in your heart, you will help to make the world for those who come after you. It is just so wonderful what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gottfried. It was really wonderful, heartfelt. Before I invite our next speaker, I would like to actually make a presentation to one of our ardent folk who helped to raise these wonderful students. I'd like to invite Professor Susan Fahrenholtz to the stage. Professor Fahrenholtz has been an ardent worker raising wonderful young minds over decades now. And last year we had the honor of presenting you with the Educator of the Year award a couple of years ago. And this year the award goes to Dr. Sandy Johnson, whose school that we have worked with in Harlem. And we've had several students go through your school, but brief comments from Susan Fahrenholtz.
Thank you, Sad. Well, you all know about Sad, so Dr. Sad, I'm not going to say any more about him because we all know that without him, none of this would have happened. I've known him for the last 10 years, isn't it? Yes. And every year he does more and more and sacrifices in order to do more and more. But what I want to say right now is to praise the educators and teachers. The teachers who have helped. I don't think there's a person here who isn't here because of one or more teachers. Maybe science teachers or maybe other teachers. Teachers make the biggest difference, and they make a difference for thousands of students through the years. One year they may have 150, next year 150, another 150. They have thousands of students, and they really make a difference. They've tried studies. How do you produce great students that learn a lot? And they really don't know. But the one thing they do know is the teachers make the difference. And I just want you to make sure that you respect and acknowledge your teachers, and I want to acknowledge them because